Ramil, thank you for coming on, brother. Kind of tell people what brought you to the Black YouTube space for to start creating content.
Well, first off, thanks for having me, O'Shea. As you said, I'm not new to the manosphere. I just been on and off past few years because of troubles with YouTube or whatnot. I came to YouTube because, as a black man, uh, I have been to jail before. So I got out. I started grinding, turning my life around, started taking entrepreneurship very seriously. And when I started to make money, I seen that other black men were also struggling with the fact of how to create uh, income outside of their job. So originally, my YouTube channel was made to help black men find other ways to make money. But the black YouTube sector, you're gonna fall into the other traps, women dating and all that other stuff. But majority of my channel was meant for black male entrepreneurship.
All right, cool, cool, cool. So and again, man, thanks for coming on and sharing that side of the game for us, brother. We definitely appreciate your efforts. Although the white man held you back a few times, but last time you came back, you came on the Peanuts Police show. You said some controversial things that shook up a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people on the panel. What was it that you were talking about when you came on last week?
Uh, if my memory serves correctly, we was talking about black men should never marry a black American woman again. I came with the perspective that black men shouldn't be focused on marriage at all or having kids at all because we're so far behind. The wealth gap is so huge. I don't think black men really have time to play around with that type of stuff. And building wealth and gaining power takes time and energy and effort. Time and energy we don't have to be playing around, playing the mating game with females and doing the family thing when we need to be focusing on catching up with the other races of men who are currently running the world. And I don't think that went well to a lot of people.
Now, what were you saying, bro?
Oh, I was saying that on the last podcast, I think what I said that people didn't like was the fact that I believe black men should be focused on wealth building and gaining power and not playing the mating game with these women and creating families and things like that. That stuff can come secondhand. Right now, we're 228 years behind in wealth building. It takes time and energy to catch up. So black men should be focused on gaining power and building wealth first, mating game second. If black brothers, the intelligent ones, take next 10 to 20 years and don't birth babies and focus on wealth creation, the black population is not going to die out. There's plenty of us. All right. Our population growth is currently outpacing whites and almost on par with the Hispanics. Okay. There's more than enough of us. And another thing is that you don't need numbers for power. White people have already proven this. White people are 10% of the global population, but they run the whole world. So if our population numbers do drop, there will be nothing wrong with that. You don't need numbers for power. And apparently more unproductive citizens are being birthed than productive citizens anyway. So every successful race at one point or another has practiced some form of, I don't want your audience to take this the wrong way, but has practiced some form of population control. The Chinese, the white, earlier, blacks are the only people who look at this type of subject and say, oh, no, we can't do this. But then we want to complain about white supremacy beating us up. Population control and things like that is something we should look at seriously. And I'm not talking about forcing people to do anything like that. It's just, practicing what the winners have done.
What is so unproductive about the current state of blacks that we have right now?
The lack of entrepreneurship rates, the lack of business startups, the lack of we don't have any power. Of course, a lot of us work. Like you said, 20% of us are in the military. Most of us who are employed work for the government. Okay, we're not building anything of our own. So that is the main issue. That's why we don't have any power. And that's why the wealth gap is so huge. Working is not enough. Being an employee is not enough. Joining the military is not enough. These are stepping stones. But the final end goal should be wealth and power. Well, like I said, population, the number of population doesn't, like I said, white people are 10% of the global population, but yet they still have managed to control majority of the world. The power is not in numbers. If you have too many people, that can actually slow you down. You're only as strong as your weakest link. White people have never been the majority population on this planet, but yet they still maintain control. power is not about numbers. It's about what you have up here. All right. Once that gun was made, it don't matter how many Africans was in the continent of Africa. Once that gun was invented, them few thousand whites were able to take over all of Africa. You know, power is in the mind, not the numbers. Well, first of all, I would say this is not necessarily the white man system. The system of currency and economics and money goes back far before the white man. But to stay in current times, that's that white supremacy stuff again. You're never gonna know until you try, you know. And even if you build something and so quote unquote white people destroy it, okay, you build it back again. You keep going until you die. Like white people have a brain, 2 eyes, 2 hands, and 2 feet, just like me. Nothing about them makes them more superior or more special than me. The only thing white people did is they beat everybody to the punch when it comes to this power thing. When white people were going over, taking over the world, taking over countries, they were battling other humans who had the same capabilities as them. So there's no other human that can stop me getting me from what I want. And that's the mindset we got to start thinking. White people are not better than us. White supremacy is just here only because they're practicing nature better than us. But as human beings, they're not better. You can sustain. You can win if you just try. We got to stop being scared. Like, yo, if they knock your shit down, build it back up and try it again. There's nobody to say. This is why, like I said earlier, I'm one voice. This is just another direction. Because in the past, running away to white people is not going to work. We've already tried that. All right. Trying to assimilate into their corporations and trying to get a piece of what they got, you know, that doesn't work. You know, so I'm just throwing out a different route. We've went these separate routes over the past, ever since we gotten out of slavery. Wealth hasn't changed. Power hasn't changed. So I'm just throwing a different direction out there, you know, and it starts with the black man, the intelligent black man, not the black woman, not the Ray and Pookie. It starts with the black man who got sense. Well, if black men were to start doing what I said ASAP and follow them to the T, being in a consistent state of self-improvement, not playing the mating game, just worrying about wealth and power, we can cut this down drastically, exponentially, because each day in the world of technology, we can reach people faster and automation is happening. So in the dreamland, if we were on this every day for the next 20 years, we should be able to cut it down by at least half or more, because white people are still, they're in a disarray too. They're not perfect, you know, so we can definitely catch up while they're playing games. America's on the decline right now. All right. America is on the decline productivity wise. This is the perfect time for black men to jump up and jump into the markets of many industries. That's why these Asians are coming over and taking over. They got the highest wealth. They got the highest value of wealth in the country right now, because while America is declining, while white people are playing the games, this feminism and all this stuff, these Asians are like, nope, we're going to take advantage of everything that's going on now. You got Asians buying up property in Detroit and Washington, D.C. Okay. These are things that could be happening. So while America is declining, this is the perfect time to strike. Well, like Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to build strong children than to fix broken men. I mean, what's going on today, we have the opportunity. I mean, the information age is here. Like anything you want to learn, you can learn. Anything you want to do, you can do. Any certification you want to get, you can get. Any degree you can get, you want to get, you can get. All the resources are here. It's just we're not taking advantage of them. And there's a lot of us sitting here who are letting the information age pass us by, which is why the tech industry is making leaps and bounds every day, but blacks are not being part of that. You know, STEM field, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, blacks are not part of those curriculums in large amounts. Okay, so it's like the stuff is already here, so we don't have to guide anybody anywhere. The information's already here. We're just not being proactive with it. So we need to raise that's why when I say intelligence brothers take 10 to 20 years off of having kids, when we do build something and come back to the mating game, we'll actually have it's easier to build strong children than to fix broken men. That's what Frederick Douglass said. And right now, you know, everybody who's lost in the culture, you're gonna have to let them go.
What's give me a number? I mean, I know that we're not asking you to be accurate or anything like that, but what percentage of people in the black community do you think are broken?
Over half. and that's being generous.
Don't be generous. Be Ramil.
Uh, probably 80%.
80% of black people are broken.
Yes, the reason why I say that because if the goal is not power and wealth, then you are broken. We live in everybody wants to complain about white supremacy, right? They want to complain about how white people control every aspect of our lives or control the 9 areas of our lives, like Neely Fuller said. But nobody is wanting to fight back to change this. In order to fight back and change this, you have to operate in ways that most of us would say is not right. But you got to combat this type of stuff.
How do you combat it?
All right. So you combat it by building. I know I keep saying this, but wealth and power is the answer to most of black people's problems. The reason why a lot of black people get killed by the police and nothing happens to them because we don't have that lawyer network, that network of lawyers to fight back for us. The reason why we are incarcerated so much, same thing. We don't have a network. They're not doing the same stuff to the Arabs, to the Chinese, because they have a power base. So until we establish that, we're going to keep being disrespected. And I'm sick of it. I don't know about you other black men, but I'm sick of it. Intelligent black men should stop reproducing and having kids at least for the next 10 to 20 years. As a man, you can physically have a baby until you're 80. It's not like we're not women. You can easily have a kid when you're in your 50s or above. We were gifted that, so we should take advantage of that. We don't have to have kids and worry about that so soon in our lives.
So are you insinuating then, because it sounds like to me that what you're saying is 20% of the educated in black men who are functional, whether they are educated or not, just these black men who are not broken, these are the black men who don't need to be having kids, right?
Right now, the intelligent black men, the so-called 20%, should be focused on wealth and power so we can catch up to this 228-year gap. We can have kids anytime. So yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well, then what about the 80% of those who are broken who will still be out there fucking and sucking and doing whatever they want to do?
Well, that's the thing. See, what we would have to do, we have to take responsibility as the quote unquote, I hate to use this word too. I really hate to use it.
Go ahead and use it.
But the quote unquote elite, okay, what we would do is we take that wealth and power because we're still black. So I'm not saying, hey, let's go take our power and go assimilate with white people. No, just like the white elites do, they create corporations, they buy up land, and they control the masses through hiring them, through renting out them, and things like that. So black men who have came into their intelligence, and when they do get their wealth, you're gonna have to go back to black people, and you're gonna have to invest because it makes no sense to say, hey, let's go do this with white people or Chinese people. No, so you go back to the hood, buy out those properties, which hood properties are one of the best investments you can make. They pay the highest gross profit margin in rent in the whole country. It's in the hood. All right, you can corner stores, beauty supplies, things like that, gas stations, things that black people need that are not being supplied by black people. That's the responsibility of people like us. We're supposed to take control of that and create those networks, organizations, and businesses that create clothes and food and stuff for the masses. That's our job, and that's what we're lacking.